So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Joseph Hotovets, our in-house SEO and analytics consultant. Joseph works with Mata, and the two of them have been working with us for over a year, working on Wonderful Machines, social media, our SEO, our analytics, and they also consult with photographers on SEO and analytics as well. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to consultants at wonderfulmachine.com, and we'll be happy to connect you. So starting July 1st, Google is going to be switching to a new way to be tracking your analytics. It's called GA4. So if you're a photographer that has been into tracking your analytics, or you want to find out why you should be tracking your analytics, you've come to the right place. Joseph is going to address why analytics are so important to keeping track of what's happening on your website, and also what this GA4 is all about. So I'm going to stop talking and turn it over to Joseph and let him give you all the good details.
Hello, everyone. Marianne, thank you for the introduction. So it was really nice you wrapped up everything. And before we start, I would like just to tell you a brief overview of what we will cover today. So I will start with a brief introduction to SEO for some of you who are not familiar with that, and then we will move to Google Analytics. So yeah, for some of you who don't know, SEO, or search engine optimization, is the process of optimizing your online content so that a search engine, for example, like Google, can show it as a top result for searches of certain keywords. Now let's break it down into simpler terms. So imagine you have a physical store selling for example, your photographs. Now SEO would be equivalent of maybe placing your store at the busiest street corner, which will ensure maximum visibility because you want as many people as possible to find your store, walk in, explore your work, and make a purchase. Similarly, when you have a website displaying your photography services, you want your site to appear prominently when people search for keywords that are relevant to your work. And SEO helps you to achieve that. It ensures that your website is not hidden away on the second or third page of Google, where fewer people will find it. So in short, SEO is a way of telling search engines and also your potential clients more about your work. It's about making sure that when someone looks up, for example, architecture photographer in, let's say, Philadelphia, or landscape photography prints, the goal of SEO is to make your website one of the first people see. So yeah, I hope that now you have a basic understanding of SEO. And before diving deeper into Google Analytics, I would like to acknowledge something important. So as photographers, many of you are self-employed or run small businesses. And this means, usually this means wearing multiple hats, from shooting and editing photos to marketing your services, managing your finances, hiring assistants, buying equipment and maintaining it. And I think the list goes on and on. Moreover, you may be investing in different marketing channels, including, let's say, online ads, maybe on a platform like Google Ads. Maybe you are making some investments in, I don't know, maybe social media promotions or some kind of magazine ads, and perhaps even billboards. Given this context, it's understandable if SEO might not appear as the most immediate concern for you, and that's all right. Because you see, SEO is important, of course, but it's not always the crucial part of every business. Particularly for photographers, it can feel like one more thing to master and maintain, which of course takes time, resources, and a lot of patience. And sometimes the tangible rewards of SEO, which are increased visibility, higher traffic to your website, and potential client conversions, might not be immediately noticeable. What I want to emphasize here is that it's okay. If you are a photographer focusing on your craft, creating stunning images that tell stories, And if you have a steady stream of clients through referrals, word of mouth publicity, direct advertising, in that case, SEO might not be your priority. And that does make your business any less successful or your work any less valuable. So while SEO is not the be all and end all, it's a tool worth considering depending on your business needs and resources. So yeah, that was my introduction to SEO, and I think that now we can move on to Google Analytics. If you have any questions about SEO, we can return to that later. So SEO, Google Analytics is one of the essential SEO tools because it provides a wealth of data about your website and its visitors, effectively acting as a digital logbook of your online presence. Google Analytics can inform you about the demographics of your website visitors. It provides data on like different things. For example, your visitors' geographical location, age, gender. You can even see the type of device people use to access your site. And this information is incredibly valuable as it can help you to understand who your audience is and also allow you to tailor your content to suit their preferences. So yeah, Google Analytics also shows you which pages on your website are the first ones your visitors land on. This information is crucial as it gives you an understanding of what content is attracting visitors to your site and provides the opportunity to make a great first impression. In addition to that, it monitors how long visitors spend on each page. This helps to identify which of your pages are particularly engaging and holding people's attention, and conversely, which ones might need some improvement. Another feature of Google Analytics is its ability to differentiate between new and returning visitors. And this can help you to get the idea of the loyalty of your audience and determine whether your website successfully encourages repeat visits. So yeah, in essence, Google Analytics serves as an observant of your website, continuously collecting data about your website performance and its visitors. And while it might be a bit overwhelming at first, it is an extremely powerful tool that can guide your SEO strategies. It can help you to tailor your website and attract more potential clients. And now the best thing about Google Analytics is that it's completely free. The only thing that you need is your Google account, and like you only have to sign up by using your Google account, or if you are using Google Workspace, you can use that as well. So now you might wonder, what do you do with Google Analytics data? So it's crucial to understand that any kind of marketing effort you do is an investment. And like any investment, you will want to ensure that you are getting a good return. And this means that it's not just about putting money into marketing tactics, but also about tracking their effectiveness. For instance, if you are investing in Google Ads, you should track key metrics like number of visitors to your website directly from your ads. But you don't have to stop there. You can even dig deeper. You can look at how many of these visitors clicked on your contact page or maybe submitted a form. This will give you a clear understanding on whether your ads are attracting people who are genuinely interested in your work. Similarly, if you are spending time and resources on SEO, you'll want to track how many people are finding your website through search engines. And if you are using Google Analytics, you can check if you are seeing an increase in organic traffic over time, because that's a good indication that your SEO efforts are paying off. There are other types of marketing that you might be using, for example, social media marketing or email marketing. But no matter what you are using, every marketing effort should be paired with diligent tracking and analysis. And this not only helps to justify your investments, but also provides valuable insights to refine your strategies. The more you understand about what works and what doesn't, the better you can tailor your marketing efforts to effectively reach and engage your audience. And now this is like the crucial thing that I always say. The goal of marketing is not just to reach people. It's to reach the right people and inspire them to engage with your work. By tracking your marketing efforts, you can ensure that you are doing just that. Okay, so now when you know about the benefits of tracking data and analyzing it, I would like to talk about GA4. GA4 is the latest evolution in Google's analytics tool. Google has rolled out a new version known as I said, GA4, which is short for Google Analytics 4. And this is not just an update, but a complete overhaul, reimagining how data is collected and analyzed. GA4 is set to replace an older version, which is Universal Analytics or UA. And that means that if you've been using UA, you'll need to make a transition to GA4 as soon as possible. And as Marianne said, standard Universal Analytics properties will stop collecting data on July 1st, which means that you only have a couple of days to make the switch. So yeah, you should do it as soon as possible if you haven't already. So you might wonder why this change and what does it mean for you. So I'll try to break it down in simple terms so you can understand it. So first of all, GA4 is designed with user-centric approach as opposed to session-centric approach of universal analytics. So this means that while UA focused more on sessions and how each individual visit to your website behaves, GA4 is more focused on users, and it tracks visitors across multiple sessions, giving you a better understanding of how users interact with your website over time. And this allows you to follow users' journey more accurately, like if we compare UA and GA4. Secondly, GA4 is designed for a world that is increasingly concerned about privacy. It's built to adapt to a future with or without cookies or identifiers. This means that GA4 can fill data gaps more intelligently, providing reports even when the data is incomplete, which is an improvement over UA. Thirdly, GA4 introduces an event-driven model. This means it can track and analyze specific interactions users have with your website. Some of the examples are, let's say, clicking on a button or a link on your website, and it can be implemented much it's much easier than on Universal Analytics. For all of you photographers, this could mean tracking things like the number of times users zoomed in on a photo on your website, or the number of times particular photo was viewed. Yeah, so while transitioning to a new system like GA4 might seem a bit daunting, remember that it's a tool designed with the future in mind. And it provides a more comprehensive understanding of how users interact with your website, more flexibility in data tracking, better adaptation to privacy regulation, and also smarter insights to help you make informed decisions. Now I would like to walk you through the process of transition from Universal Analytics to GA4. And you don't have to remember everything right now or be afraid that you will miss something, because I've outlined these steps in detail in my expert advice article, which you can refer to later. So when it comes to creating new GA4 property, there are two possible scenarios. In the first scenario, you already have Google Analytics account, and in the other one, you are creating Google Analytics property for the first time. So I will talk about both scenarios because some of you probably already know something about Google Analytics and you might already have a property. So just so you know what you have to do in that case. So Marianne, now I will share my screen. Let me just check. I think that you'll have to give me a permission. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I hope that all of you can see my screen now. This is the, let's say, home screen of Google Analytics. And this is one of the properties that I created just for like presentation purposes. And now I will show you how to create a new property. So when you enter like when you open Google Analytics, you have to go to the admin section of your account. And as I said, in order to set up a Google Analytics account, you only need your Gmail address. So you can get here by signing up using your Gmail address, or if you're using Google Workspace, you can also use that. So when you click on admin section, you will see two things here. The first one is account, and the second one is property section of the screen. If you already use Google Analytics, then you probably already have an account here, so you can just skip this step and follow along from the second part where we will create a new property. If you don't have an account, all you have to do is to click create account and enter your account name. Options that you can see here, you can just leave it everything is like set by default. You can just enter the name and click create account. So that's it. It's very simple, and I won't create a new account right now because like all you have to do is enter the name and just continue. Once you have your account here, you will probably have your old UA property visible if you've been using Google Analytics before. If not, this will be empty. In any case, you have to click on create property. So if you created a Google Analytics property, let's say 4 years ago, Universal Analytics was a default. Right now, when you click on create property, GA4 is a default, so you don't have to select that option because it's already selected for you. So once you click on create property, you will have to enter your property name. And usually what I use here is the name of the website. And then I add GA4 just so I know the difference and so I can know that this property is new. So let's do that. I do it like this. So it says wonderful machine GA4. When it comes to reporting time zone, you have to select your location. Here it says United States. And let's say that I want to choose New York time. Currency is important only if you are tracking some kind of conversions. Let's say if you are selling fine art prints or if you are selling your photographs, then you can set currency. If you are not using that, you can just leave it as it is and click on next. In the second step, you will have to choose your industry category, and you don't have to worry about it. You will select something that is wrong because you just have to be close to your industry, and that's it. Here we can select, let's say, business. When it comes to business size, again, we will choose medium. You can select small if you are working alone or maybe have a few people with you, but this is not too important. Like this is just like industry standard that every account, every property in Google Analytics account needs to have. When you click on next, we'll come to the third step, which is business objectives. We are all here to examine user behavior because we want to see how many people are visiting our website, how they are interacting with our content. So this is an option that I will choose here, and feel free to read more about other options available because some of them are useful for, let's say, e-commerce stores or selling fine art prints or selling photographs. In that case, maybe you would choose drive online sales. Like it's different from user to user, but as a general rule, I always choose this fourth option. And then I click on create.
Josip, sorry to interrupt, but can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So when you're making those choices, are those just demographic questions that Google wants to know, or do they actually impact the way the analytics are delivered or displayed?
So it's all like Google wants to know basic information about you to create custom dashboard for you. So the only thing that you will get is custom dashboard that will be visible on your home screen of your Google Analytics account, but you can change it. Like immediately when you create your Google Analytics property, you can change it and remove some of the things or add new ones. So it's not that you can make a mistake here. Like you can always make modifications, and there is nothing wrong you can do here. Like it just creates some kind of custom dashboard for you.
Got it.
Okay, so now that we created the property, we are moving to the second step of creating Google Analytics for our website, which is setting a data stream. As you can see here, we have three options. We have a web, Android app, or iOS app. In most cases, you will have to choose web because we are tracking analytics for our website. When you click on the web, you will have to enter the URL of your website. So here I will just copy the URL of Wonderful Machine website, and I will remove the protocol and unnecessary things. When it comes to stream name, you can choose anything you like. It can be, again, Wonderful Machine. It can be something else. It's not really important. And in the next step, you have to click on Create Stream. Once you click on that, you created a new property for your Google Analytics account. And second step is completed. We are moving on to the third step, which is usually the problem for many people. And the issue with the third step, which is adding tracking code to your website, is that there are so many ways on how you can do that. And usually people are confused with different ways you can do that. One of the ways is to add a measurement ID to your website, which you can see here. The other way is to use Google Tag Manager. The third way is to use JavaScript code that you have to paste in the head section of your website. As you can hear, like it sounds a bit complicated, and I decided to focus only on one way of adding a tracking code for your Google Analytics account, because from my experience, it's the easiest one. So we will focus on adding a JavaScript code to the head section of your website. To do that, you have to scroll down and click on View Tag Instructions, which will open a new screen. And when you click on Install Manually, you will see a piece of code here. It's JavaScript code, which also contains your measurement ID here. Like this is the same thing that we could see on the previous page, only wrapped up with some kind of JavaScript code that sends data about your website visitors to Google Analytics. All you have to do here is click on this icon here to copy the code and paste it to the head section of your website. I know that many of you are using different platforms. Right now, I will show you how to do it for WordPress, Squarespace, and Photofolio. And the process is basically the same for all the platforms. All you have to do is to find the head section of your website and paste the code there. The first thing that we are going to do is to do it for WordPress. Right here, I have figgenphoto.com. It's a WordPress website, and in order to add the code to the head section of the website, first thing that you have to do is navigate to plugins section, because you need to add a plugin that will enable you to edit the head section of your website. Once you search for it, it's called head, footer, and post injections. You have to add it to your website and activate it, and it will become the, let's say, part of your website that will enable you to easily edit the head section of your website. Once it's activated, you have to go to settings and then header and footer. Now we have to wait for it to load. And if you scroll down here, you can see head page section injection. All you have to do is to click here and paste the code that you got from Google Analytics, and then click on save. And that's it. We are done with the process of adding the code to the head section of our website. When we do that, The only thing that we have to do is wait for Google to start collecting data about our website. Usually it takes, let's say, 24 hours. So in these 24 hours, you can't see anything. Once Google starts collecting data for your website, you will be able to see information about your visitors. And this info contains all the information that I mentioned earlier, like visitors' location, age, gender, device they are using to access your website, and many others. So now I will quickly show you how to do this on Squarespace. Here is a website of Derek Israelson. Derek is using Squarespace for his portfolio website. And for some of you who are using Squarespace, you are probably familiar with the interface you can see here. On Squarespace, you have to go to Settings. Then you have to scroll down, open Developer Tools, and then Code Injection. Once you open that, you will see that you have a place where you can paste your Google tag. You just paste it like this and click on Save. And that's it. You've added a code to the head section of your website. As you can see, it's a bit easier compared to WordPress because you don't have to install a plugin, like it's already there. So it was a bit quicker here on Squarespace. The third platform that I'm going to show you is Photofolio. This is edwhitephotographics.com. Ed is using Photofolio for quite some time, and this is an example of admin section on Photofolio. Once you open admin section, you have to click on SEO, and it will expand with a couple of options. Here it says Google Analytics ID, which is another method of connecting Google Analytics to your website. It's the first method that I mentioned, where you only have to paste your Google Analytics ID. But the method we are using is adding JavaScript code to the head section of our website. In order to do that, here it says site head. You just have to open this field and paste your Google Analytics tracking code and click on OK, which will save this to the back end of your website. So that was the third step of setting up Google Analytics property. When you do that, I will just show you how Google Analytics dashboard looks like. So our new property is here, GA4. As you can see, these were the old ones that I created only for test purposes. If we open Wonderful Machine GA4 property that we just created, we'll be able to see that there is no data for our website yet, because as I said, it will take some time for Google to start picking it up. And yeah, this was our quick demonstration. I will stop sharing my screen now. So yeah, now that we went through the steps on how to set up Google Analytics properties, I'm sure that these instructions will help you to get started on GA4. And as I said, once the GA4 tag is installed, your new GA4 property will start collecting data. Now you have to remember that transition to GA4 is not a choice, but a necessity. And the earlier you do it, the better. With GA4, you can understand your audience better and make your photography business even more successful. It's important to mention that your online presence is not just about showcasing your work. It's about connecting with your audience, building relationships, and ultimately growing your business. And GA4, with its advanced features, is a powerful tool that can help you to achieve this. Now that I demonstrated the process of setting up GA4 property, I'm sure that you may have some questions. So I think that we can move on to the Q&A part of the presentation. So
thank you so much, Joseph. We do have a
you.
couple of questions popping up in the chat. The first one's from Terry Campbell. He asks, once you update to GA4, will all of your previous analytics data be wiped out, or will it be incorporated into GA4?
Okay, that's a great question. Terry, I guess you already have a universal analytics property. Your old property will stop collecting data on July 1st, but you will still be able to access your old data. When it comes to your new GA4 property, it won't be connected to your old property. So there is no way to transfer data to the new property. You have to create a new one, but you can still access your old data if you visit your UA property in your Google Analytics account. So I hope that answers your question.
Sure, it does. So Richard is next, and he says, with Photofolio, can you simply add your account number to track, or do you need to insert the HTML code, which I believe
you can do both. You can do both. As I said, there are a couple ways on how you can do that. I wanted to show exactly the same process for all three platforms, because when it comes to, let's say, WordPress, you can't add only your like you have to add entire code, not only your account number. So that was the difference. I wanted to show you the same process for every platform because I think it's a bit easier.
Cool, thank you. So Frank asks, how do you track organic search results, not just the numbers of searches, but the actual keyword searches that are used?
Okay, that's also a great question. And this is a bit out of scope of Google Analytics, because in order to see which keywords people are using to find your website on search engines like Google, you have to create a Google Search Console for your website, because Google Search Console will help you to get a list of queries people are using to find your website through organic search. So Google Analytics doesn't have that option. You have to use Google Search Console for that.
Nice, good questions, guys. Ed is interested in knowing if the transition to GA4 will affect search rankings.
It won't affect search ranking in any way. It's just there to help you to understand your audience and data about your website visitors.
And Ed also asks, how do we know if we have a Google Search Console?
So Google Search Console is a free platform also. Google is the owner of the platform. All you have to do is to Google Search Console and open the first link. When you open it, you will see if you already have an account there or not. If you have it, you can access a search queries tab where you will see a list of keywords people are using to find your website. If not, you can set up Google Search Console property. It's relatively easy, and you can verification is almost the same as setting up Google Analytics property, and then it will take some time for Google to collect data about your website.
So follow-up question related from Frank. He's already using the Search Console. Is there anything that needs to be updated there, or will GA4 sort of automatically funnel the updated information?
You don't need to do anything. Like, it's automatically updated and it's already connected to your website, so you don't have to update your tracking code or anything.
Okay, so that answers Marvin's question. And then Richard also asks, do you offer a review session of our existing account for analytics and also SEO audit of our sites?
Yes, we do that. And when it comes to Google Analytics, people usually struggle with custom dashboards because they see a lot of information and they don't know what it's all about. So usually when it comes to audit of your Google Analytics account, I ask people, okay, so what exactly do you want to know about your website visitors? And then people tell me, okay, so I want to know the traffic sources. I want to know the type of people that are visiting my website, like their journey through my website or something else, maybe the type of device they are using. And then I set up custom dashboard for the photographer I'm doing the audit for.
And so if you're interested in more information about doing the audit with Joseph, just email us at consulting@wonderfulmachine.com. I put it in the chat. Again, Bill put it in earlier, but I think some of you came in after that. But we'd be happy to talk with you about that. It's one of our consulting services, and I think photographers have really appreciated what Joseph has been able to do for them. I don't see any more questions.
And people can just jump in if you want to express a question with a voice, you can unmute yourself, and it can just be a free-for-all now if anybody has any questions they want to ask.
I would just like to mention that maybe some of you are using platforms that I did not mention. Like I only talked about WordPress, Squarespace, and Photofolio. There are other platforms as well. So if you are concerned that your like platform doesn't have any kind of support for Google Analytics, that's usually not the case. You can connect Google Analytics to your website. You only have to find a way to add tracking code. And it's different for every platform. Just make sure to search for the right thing. Like you have to, if you are using some other platform, use that platform's name and then search for how to add code to the head section of my website, something like that, and you'll be able to find it.
Oh, all right. One more question sneaking in here. Ed's wondering, so his website is hand coded, and does that make a difference?
Yes, because you usually, if you have hand-coded website, you don't have access to content management system. In that case, you have to contact your developer to add that code to the head section of your website, because every website needs to have a head section, and your website has it like 100%. So you only need to contact your developer, send the piece of tracking code, and your developer will be able to add it to the head section of your website.
Thanks, Joseph. That was super informative. I hope everybody learned everything they needed to learn. Feel free to shoot us questions if you need more. And thank you all for coming. We're happy to.
Sorry, Marianne, can I just jump in with a question for our guests?
You just did.
I would love to hear from folks, what are you currently tracking? What information are you tracking? And what kind of decisions are you making based on the results you're seeing in Google Analytics? Anybody?
So I already have the JavaScript on all of my pages. I worked with a SEO consultant several years ago. And so the only thing I track is how I rank in a search for keyword terms. And unless somebody like Joseph can tell me that there are other values I should be tracking, I'm assuming that that is kind of like the primary metric of whether my site is coded correctly for search or not. Is that correct?
Yes. So like when you said that you are tracking only one thing, can you explain me how exactly are you doing that? Do you have a custom dashboard for that, or?
Actually, I don't know that yet, and I have to look into that. What I do is I'll search for like industrial photographer in Los Angeles on Safari or something like that, and on a private page, so it's not doing anything funky with placement, because if it knows who I am, sometimes in the past at least, it used to skew the results. So if I show up as like #1 or on the first page, close to the top, then that's my metric, right? So then I'm doing something right.
Yes, but it also depends on the location. If you are like searching for that in your location, maybe it's working for you. But if you do that in some other city with new IP address, it doesn't have to be that way. So this is not like 100% correct for every location. It could be only like it could only work for you, but it could be different for other people.
That's what I was wondering about as well. So a different IP address on the East Coast could be getting a different result.
Yes.
Fuck me.
So Joseph, why is that? Why would the where the IP address is located, if everybody's searching on best industrial photographer in Los Angeles, why does it matter? Why would the results be different depending on your location?
Because usually as a photographer, you will have the address of your studio on your contact page, for example. And when people are using this kind of, let's call them location searches, where they are using exact location for a particular place, Google will try to figure out where exactly are you at the moment, and are there any good photographers nearby? So that's then Google will try to prioritize them over other photographers who are, for example, somewhere else in Los Angeles, like far away from you. So that's why you can see different results. Like even in the same city, on two different locations, you can get different results.
Is there any way to track that?
Yes, of course, you can always, like, as I said, when it comes to keywords that people are using to find your site, you should use Google Search Console, and you can see which type of keywords they are using when finding your website. And then you can maybe change something on your website to be more in line with what people are searching for.
Will it show where they are searching from?
Yes, you can see exact location where they are searching from. And usually, like, let's say it's a country, let's say that people are searching for certain search terms, I don't know, maybe in France, then it will narrow it down to the city as well. So you can see all the details.
Marvin, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question?
Maybe not. I can just
Maybe
answer.
not. So Marvin was ranked #1 for Detroit editorial photographer for a few years, and a few months ago, he started ranking at the bottom of the search results. Did GA4 switch have any effects on his ranking?
No, when it comes to GA, like Google Analytics in general, it doesn't have any effect on your rankings. So if you have Google Analytics for your website, and if you don't have it, it won't affect SEO for your website at all.
Okay, so it looks like
it's only there to help you to analyze your results, but it's not necessary for rankings.
I have something to add to Marvin's question. I have noted that when photographers pay an SEO to trick Google into coming to choosing them as #1 or on the first page, once Google catches on to that, they get tossed into the sandbox or something like that.
Yes, that's correct, because that's black hat SEO, and usually it can give you good results, but short-term good results. You can be first maybe for 1 or 2 months, but Google will eventually figure it out, then penalize your website, and then you will completely disappear from Google.
How do you get unpenalized?
Sorry?
How do you get unpenalized?
By losing your ranking.
So in order to regain your rankings, you have to submit your website to, for example, to Google Search Console, see if there's anything wrong with your website. And usually these black hat tactics include buying links for high authority websites. For example, you spend $2,000 and buy 20 links from high authority websites, and then Google thinks that your website got huge authority in short time span, and then it ranks you like maybe you will be first or second for your desired search terms. But over a period of, let's say, 3 months, Google will figure out that you just bought the links and that it's not natural, and Google will remove your site. In order to get back your, like, let's call them normal rankings, you would have to submit your website to Google Search Console and remove all of the fake links that were pointing to your website. So you have natural backlink profile, and then Google will reconsider your website. And if it sees that your website is okay now, it will give you back your old rankings. But when it comes to these black hat tactics, usually it works only for a month or two, and it's not good in the long run. And all of the black hat tactics are very expensive. So I would suggest you to avoid it. And I would suggest you to avoid buying links, because usually it's not good. Maybe you can talk with like certain websites about writing a guest post for them or something similar. And usually if this kind of websites have high authority, they might ask for a payment, and that's okay, as long as it's a guest post and it's natural. But if you are doing it on a large scale and just buying a huge amount of fake links, you should avoid it at any cost, because it's
Gotcha.
not good in the
I mean,
long run.
yeah, I mean, I didn't do that. I did notice, just like Marvin, like probably about 3 years ago or so, I went from being in the top 5 search results for my industry to, yeah, I'm in the sandbox, hence being here. So, I think I'll be more certainly reaching out to you guys in the near future, and maybe just do an analysis or an audit of the website and just kind of see if there's anything that I did on my end, to get banished into the netherworld. So thank you.
Yes, and SEO is a never-ending game, because Google is constantly rolling out updates, and you have to like constantly read about new stuff. Like there is something new going on all the time. So you have to know like the newest thing to be able to rank for the top spots for your desired search terms, because now with AI and everything, Google is trying to figure out a way to recognize real people and to be able to differentiate them from bots. So probably the reason why your website is not first anymore is that Google rolled out an update that affected the content. Like maybe there was not enough text on your website, or maybe you are missing some of the key things like user profile on your website or something similar. And maybe that's the reason for the loss in rankings.
Gotcha. Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So Marvin did have just a follow-up. He says, is it possible the keywords he used on his website triggered a warning to Google? For instance, if he used Detroit editorial photographer on multiple pages, could that blacklist him on Google?
Yes, it could be, because that's called keyword stuffing. And if it's not natural, then it's not good, because Google can recognize if you are just putting keywords with intent of ranking for these keywords. You should always make sure that you have like a natural website. And I always say that, like, when it comes to writing articles, which keyword you are targeting, but it's never a good solution to use that keyword 20 times on the single page. You have to make it natural and mention that keyword maybe once or twice on the page, make it sound natural, and Google will recognize that it's natural, and it will give you good rankings. If you are just using the same keyword on every page, Google could recognize it as a duplicate content, or maybe something auto-generated, which is not good, and it could de-index your site from Google.
So that generates a good question from Angela. Angela, do you want to go ahead and ask it yourself?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that counts when you have the same keywords in every photo.
I guess you are referring to alt tags, or it's something else.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like I keyword every photo before I upload it, and that auto populates. I have Squarespace, and then I kind of go in and make sure, let's see, I mean, it does give you the option to add alt text and a description, actually not a description of the photo, just a description of on every page. But I do put the same, I mean, editorial photographer, commercial, food photographer, I put those same keywords in every photo. So those do auto populate into Squarespace for each photo. And would that be considered stuffing?
Yes. And I mean, it might not negatively affect rankings of your page, but your images won't show in Google image search, because Google won't be able to recognize which one of them are actually valuable for searchers, and then your images will simply disappear from Google search. When it comes to alt tags and image file names, you should always provide more information about the photo. For example, you can talk about the location. You can, of course, mention your specialty, for example, architecture, photography off, and then write something about the location or the building or something. But if you are just using architecture photography in New York, architecture photography in New York, then it's considered keyword stuffing and it's not good. You should avoid that. There is no, sorry. What is the maximum number of words for alt text on images? I don't think that there is a limit, but I would say that the maximum amount of words should be maybe 8 to 10. I wouldn't go higher than that, although you can have more words than that. Like, you should not stress about the amount of words. Your primary goal when it comes to alt text for your images is to explain what you see when looking at the photo, and that's it. If it's 3 words, it's enough. If it's 10 words, it's also good, as long as it makes sense for you as a human who is looking at the photo.
Can I clarify something?
Yes.
So in Squarespace, the keywords auto-populate into a section that's called tags. So if I have the same tags in every photo, some of the same, then that's considered stuffing.
And when you say tags, are you referring to the field for alt tags, or it's something else?
Well, it doesn't, there's none of the sections here that they call alt text. They have a title, and then they
Okay.
have a description, and then they have tags.
Yes. Okay. So these are probably what you are referring to are alt tags, and usually, like, you don't have to use too many of them. Usually, one alt tag is enough. And when thinking about alt tag, you should consider like the situation where you open your website and your image is not loading properly. So you would want to write something that will explain your website visitors what image is about, like what image is about, like what it shows, what's the location of the image. Like, that's the way you should like think about alt tags for your images. So you should not add 10 different keywords that are not related in any way. You should just explain what you see when looking at the photo, and that's it. No need for multiple explanations of the photo.
And so if in that description, which it's confusing because they call it description, but then it's alt text. So in that description, I should avoid repeating certain phrases. Like, I do have San Francisco commercial photographer in that description under every single photo. I should not do that.
Yes, exactly. You can do it maybe once or twice, but you should definitely not do that for all the images because it's not good.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Actually, but wait, the tags, the keywords, it is okay to have some of the same tags or keywords.
Yes, but as you said, some of them. If all of them are like exactly the same, then it's not good. But if you mention, let's say, your specialty and your location in addition to the explanation of the photo, it's good, as long as you are not repeating exactly the same thing under every photo and in every alt tag section, or like every page on your website. Like, it should be a bit different. You need to give some kind of context to the image.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Marianne, we have another question.
There's one more question. We can't have
Yeah.
we can't have any more member open houses without talking about AI. I think that's going to be the rule going forward. Not that we have rules around here, but Ed's curious if you've used AI platforms to write any website text.
Well, I use AI every day, and it helps me a lot with everything. But when it comes to like writing website text, I usually don't do that. I use AI to help me with coming up with ideas on what to write about, and it's extremely helpful with that. when it comes to organizing my article into different sections, it's also helpful with that because it can give you a recommendation on how to like properly organize your text, how to organize your content plan for upcoming month. Like it's super helpful for that. And I would suggest to all of you to familiarize yourself with AI because it will change like the way we work in the future. So you should definitely be aware that it exists and know how to use it because it's useful. And you should not use it to like completely like stop working on everything and just use AI to generate articles, to write captions for your Instagram posts, like basically for everything. But you should use AI as some kind of assistant that can help you to do things like more efficiently, I would say, in a way. But yes, I'm using AI every day for a lot of things.
For sure. We're starting to use it also in the consulting department when we're looking for contacts, and also starting to use a little bit in writing emails, but we're finding that it needs a lot of human touch.
Yes, when it comes to, let's say, when it comes to responding to emails, you can just copy the email you receive, give it to AI and say, okay, please write a response to this email. AI will generate it, but of course you can't just copy it and send it. You have to read through it and see if it makes sense and then make some changes, like according to your actual response. But of course it's faster because it saves time. You don't have to type everything like from scratch.
Well, guys, we ready to wrap this up?
I got one more question, Marianne. So it sounds like we should do a program, a member open house program on AI, which is what you're describing there, Joseph. But I'm curious, while we have you guys here, one last question. Does anybody have any other suggestions? We're actually sort of getting back into a little bit of a rhythm of doing member open house programs. Does anybody have any suggestions for programs they'd like to see in the future?
Besides AI?
Besides AI. And scanning, of course.
We do have while you're thinking about that, we do have a member open house coming up next month. I believe it's going to be the third week in July, and we'll be hosting Capture One, and they have a new tethering feature to your phone. So they'll be doing a demo for that member open house in July. And feel free to email us anytime with any other ideas. We're happy to, get in the rhythm of starting these member open houses again. So your feedback would be great. And thank you all so much for joining us today. We appreciate having a lovely audience. And if you've got any questions, let us know, and we'll see you next month.